What's up, guys? SnowShovel here, and I'm going to do a little Paraguide update for you since the weapon was nerfed a while ago. So I figured I would update the guide with a new set of tips, I guess, and proper mods to use the weapon. So I'm just going to show you guys the two weapons I normally use, which is the Hot Road and the regular para. And on both of them, I have a different set of mods. I have Long Range Barrel and Grip on this one, and on my FAL, I have the Spets Grip, and these are basically the two sets of mods that I use. I don't add the stock anymore because it really doesn't add much stability after 3 shots, which I'll show you guys in game real quick. So for both of them, I mean, pretty normal mods, but the way the weapons work now is the stability kicks out of control a lot quicker. So I'll show you both of the weapons in game and show you how to use them correctly. So yeah, we'll go in game real quick. Alright, so now we're in game. I'm using the regular para. This one has Long Range Barrel and Grip on it. I'm currently playing at 1024 by 768. I just started playing at this resolution because I feel like the added clarity really helps me now. Because the other thing that they changed was the crosshair. I have to use the black outlined crosshair in order to have the old crosshair, so you can't really, it's really hard to see what you're shooting at the lower resolution if you're using this crosshair. So I just bumped my resolution up, so just letting you guys know about that. You can still use 8x6, but I use 1024 now because of the crosshair. So anyway, so this is Long Range Barrel and Grip. I'll show you what it looks like. Well, I'm sure you already know, but we'll just do it for comparison's sake. So this is like, I think, 10 meters. Yeah. So as you can see, the crosshair blooms rather quickly. And the spray control is pretty wide, even though you're tapping. If you go full auto, it gets out of control pretty quick. So you don't want to do full auto, obviously. And this is, by the way, when I'm crouching and not moving. If I'm moving and shooting, you see the crosshair dances around a lot if I start dancing. You'll notice the crosshair actually gets smaller randomly, but that's because I hit a point where my character's not moving. So the crosshair will react according to your movement. So if I hold shift and shoot, it's pretty static. So the key to moving and shooting is to hold shift every time you tap with the long range barrel. This will keep it under control a little bit better than if you don't. You can see how it dances around and it gets really big if I don't hold shift, but when I hold shift, it's easier to control. So this is me not holding shift. A lot more random, right? So if you're using a long range barrel, you want to either hold shift or crouch to get the crosshair to react the way you want it to react. Because if you don't do that, it kicks rather randomly. So you don't really want that. You want to hold shift whenever you can. Try and keep it under control. The other thing, as I mentioned in the previous guide, is you want to pull down a little bit after your first and second bullet. Because after that, the kick isn't... The way the kick works with the para is that the first 3 bullets kick up, and then after that, it kicks side to side. See that? I wasn't even pulling down after the first 3 bullets. It was just going side to side. So if you're tapping, you don't really... It doesn't have a lot of vertical recoil. It's only the first 2 bullets that really have it. So you want to pull down for the first 2, and then just try to control it when you can. So that's long range barrel. You can tell the spread is a lot bigger than it used to be. This is kind of a nerf to try and keep it in line with other weapons. But yeah, so I don't like using long range grip too much because I like having more control over the weapon. I like having that accuracy over the extra damage. And the extra damage isn't really that helpful unless you're going for a headshot at long range against another helmet. Because up close, the Spets and the long range barrels do relatively the same amount of damage, so you're not really going to notice much of a difference in a firefight. But you will definitely notice that the crosshair is much bigger when you tap with the long range barrel than you do Spets. So I'm going to switch over to Spets real quick. So this is Spets barrel. You can tell it's slightly more accurate when I move around. The crosshair is a little more static, and it maintains its accuracy while you move, and it gets even tighter as you crouch. So let me go back to that same spot and show you the difference between the spray. So we're here again. I'm going to tap and do controlled tapping. You can see it's much, much tighter. You can tell that the bullets are grouped a lot better than they were with the long-range barrel. And that's standing. So a little bit tighter recoil here, or spread here, and then a little bit more wide when you are standing. If you move around, it's about the same as standing. So you can move and shoot with this weapon a little bit better, and it maintains its spread a little easier than the long-range barrel. Same thing applies here as the long-range barrel. You want to try to control that recoil by holding shift or control, crouch, whatever your button for crouch is, because you're able to control the recoil really well if you just hold the shift or control, versus not holding shift and control, which makes it get really big. So that was without holding shift. If you break shoot with it like this, it randomly gets small. But I mean, you don't really want that. You want to try to control that as much as possible. So holding shift, a lot better. So that's the difference. The things I like to do with the para is I used to say you want to commit to the kill if you can. Nowadays, it's really hard to do that because of the kick. I only try to commit to the kill if I'm using a Spets, and even then, it's really not that strong. Unless you're up close. Like if I'm about 30 meters out or 20 meters out, it's usually really hard to control past this point. So I try to get closer if I can, and if not, I 3-tap burst and I try to find a new spot. Because I mean, it's really hard to commit to a kill at this range. You're gonna lose for the most part unless you get really lucky with a headshot. Against other weapons that are a lot easier to control at this range, like an M4 or an alligator, or any kind of weapon that's really easy to use at this range. So, if you're gonna commit to a kill, you want to do it up close if possible. I recommend 5 to 10 meters is the sweet spot for the para, which is about this kind of distance right here. Anything more than this, and you're gonna have a little trouble. But yeah. So just keep that in mind when you're using the weapon. Like if you're trying to kill a guy that's like all the way over there, I wouldn't try to commit to killing him because the kick is so random now. Just try to get like 3 shots in, relocate, maybe do this, and then relocate. You know, just try to work your different angles instead of trying to just crouch and spray. It's a lot easier that way now. You can't really, committing to a kill is, I don't know, you can still do it, but it's just not as effective as it used to be. So it's better to try and just try and burst them down, like 3 shots, and then try to find a different spot. So try that. Other thing, if you are using a para, and I mentioned this in my other videos because it's really important and a lot of people still don't do it, is I hate it when I see people sprinting like this. Why do you sprint with your crosshair down? That's stupid. You want to keep your crosshair at head level. Because if you're sprinting and they pop out randomly, you want your crosshair to be where their head is, not where their feet are, you know? You don't want to be aiming down like this. This is stupid. Like, I know why people do it. It's because they like to see what's going on in front of them. But by aiming down, you have to take that extra few milliseconds to aim back up and relocate your crosshair. Versus just having your crosshair there in the first place, you'll be able to react much quicker, and you'll be able to get the headshot a lot easier that way. So keep your crosshair pre-aimed at head level whenever you can. All right, and you gotta kind of get a feel for where their head is going to be at, but you want that first bullet to land on their head if possible. And then after that, you want to start aiming towards their body because you're just not going to be able to aim for their head if you're tapping. Another thing that they've updated is if you're really up close, or if you're at mid-range, like right here, and you miss the headshot and you just can't get their head, hitting their gut, like below their chest, actually does more damage than hitting them in the torso or arms. You can actually two-shot kill people up to, I think, 10 meters if you aim for their gut. That's like lower abdomen, basically, like their crotch area, pretty much. If you aim there, you can two-shot kill people. So, I mean, it's kind of hard to aim there when you're trying to aim for their head initially, but that's just something to keep in mind. The gut shots do more damage than the chest shots, so just be aware of that. And you know, if you're in a really close firefight situation, you can just kind of crouch and aim for their gut. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the para. There's really not that much that has changed. It's just the stability of the weapon that has changed, that prevents it from being sprayed as easily. So you just got to keep that in mind when you're using it. Always aim for the head, and then aim for gut if you can. Like I said, burst shooting is probably your best bet. And yeah, if you play on ramps, by the way, the crosshair will kick like you're moving. So just be aware of that. You have a disadvantage on ramps. Don't be on ramps when you're shooting the gun if possible, because it will kick higher. But that's pretty much it. I hope this helped you guys out. Yeah, if you guys have any questions, just leave a comment below, and I'll answer it if it applies. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time.